right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Pony Express Radio. We're going to discuss all of the major news stories of the week as we do. And I kind of once again have to point out our amazing thumbnail work. I challenge anybody in this scene to have better thumbnails than we do. It can't be done. And in combination with our music, we truly are the best. And we got the best soundboard as well. God, why are we not all just like deca millionaires for the work that we put out for you fine people in the audience? I say unto you, fine listener. Anyway, we're back here once again for another exciting Thursday night. Pete, welcome back. How are you, my friend?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm fired up tonight. There's some weeks where, I'm like, oh shit, we got to talk about these stories, really? And then there's like some weeks like this one where I'm like, oh boy, I'm like rubbing my hands together with anticipation. Ding.
Don't rub them right in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. With how excited I am with these stories. But, and we got Bo with us tonight. We're having more of our guys from all of our OGC chapters. Bo, how about you introduce yourself to the audience really quick and tell us what chapter of the OGC you are a member of? Which one are you representing tonight? Maybe we need to get like a competition going on here amongst our chapters, sending their best and brightest to join us on Pony Express Radio or something. So, Bo, welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And I am representing Nathan Hale Society out of New York City.
All right, that's awesome. See, the OGC men are everywhere. It's like that scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark where they're talking about top men. No, trust me, the OGC has top men everywhere. It really does warm my heart, and I get updates on this almost every week now at this point, where one of our guys, is trapped in in like an airport or something because the airlines are just completely not fit for purpose at this point. They're trapped in a city. They throw up the bat symbol, and an OGC guy is there to pick them up and show them a good time and give them some good old-fashioned American hospitality. So it really does warm my heart, the network that we've been able to build, where basically any of us can go anywhere in this country, and you will find like-minded people. Most people in the entire world can't say such a thing, Mel, but we certainly can, brothers of the OGC. So before we get into the stories, as ever, we need to keep the lights on over here at OGC HQ. So starting right up at the top, we are in the middle of White Boy Summer, and you guys need to be getting your peak physique on. And the best way to do that is to head on over to Axios Remote Fitness and Coaching. Link is down in the description. While you guys are at it, if you need your caffeine fix, you must head over to Fox & Sons Coffee. For all of you coffee and caffeine consumers out there, I, of course, am not one of you, but I've heard nothing but fantastic reviews from Fox & Sons, so please do give them your support and longtime sponsors of the show. While you guys are at it, we here at OGC are also fans of Big Tobacco, so you guys need to head on over and get yourself some Alp nicotine pouches. I may be a little bit of a teetotaler when it comes to caffeine and coffee, but not with nicotine. And I got to tell you, I really do like Alp compared to all the other nicotine pouches that they have on the market. Pouches just fit perfectly in your mouth, give you a nice kick of the old nicotine. So yeah, I would not be able to get through tax season if it wasn't for Alp, I'll tell you that much right now. So head on over to Alp nicotine pouches for that. While you guys are at it, you guys need to be not just in peak physical condition, but you need to be working on your dress, of course. People will point out that one of our most popular articles still to this day on the OGC Substack was done by our very own Not Me, Not You about the metaphysics of dress, where he was tearing apart James Lindsay for his pathetic dress code. But everybody here at the OGC, you can immediately tell who is wearing an MS Vendrillo suit. I myself even got fit for one earlier this year. You go to any of our conferences, any of our events, you can immediately tell who's wearing a Vendrillo suit. And you too can be looking like a sharp dressed man, to quote ZZ Top. So head on over to MS Vendrillo. And finally, if you guys need to get your knowledge up on all manner of American history topics, please head on over to our good friend, Mr. George Bagby's print shop, Tall Man Books. Mr. Bagby has worked tirelessly to bring out many, many books that are just no longer in print about the American history, 17th, 18th, 19th century. Take a look. There's some amazing stuff there already. So, gentlemen, we must get into the stories of the week. And the best place to start is, well, what our thumbnail is suggesting. This was kind of like a breaking story around the time last week. It's kind of weird sometimes. We have these stories. It's actually happened a couple of times lately where a story is like broken on like Thursday or Friday, and then we got to wait until like the very next week to talk about this. It almost kind of feels like old news at this point, but we got to talk about the Shiloh Hendrix case. People will remember this, of course, from last year. This actually took place in April of last year. So, like 16, 18 months ago now at this point. But everyone is, of course, is familiar with this case where Miss Hendrix here was in a playground in Minnesota with her child. We actually just want to review the details of this case because it's just so insane on its face, right? We originally heard the case was that, this 4, 5, 6-year-old like Somali child, the age range of the child was like just moving all over the place in the opening days of this case. Come to find out, which we've known for a long time, that these refugees or migrants or invaders is what we should be calling them, come to our country, lie about the ages of various people and their families, for any multitude of reasons. And of course, like fake the autism cases, probably just because they're so low IQ. Every one of them tests for autism anyway. But it came out through the trial that the child was actually 9 years old and was rummaging through her sack. Parents are always carrying around various baby toys or diapers or what have you, and she just left at the playground. This kid was sifting through her stuff. And so, of course, she dropped a gamer word at this child and then dropped another gamer word as the camera person, who later was found out was a sexual offender of some kind. I forget the exact details, whether it was the guy was found not guilty of rape or was not tried for a rape, or it was something to that extent. Shocking, right? Third worlder involved in a sexual crime. But so this guy gets out his phone camera, records Shiloh flipping him off and dropping a gamer word, and of course the internet just exploded. This is the rise of far right, woke right racism in the United States, and this is just like lynching. This is exactly what happened, in times past, where people would just take these poor defenseless black people out back and just hang them in the streets or what have you. So. A huge fundraiser came out afterwards, where Miss Hendrix received almost like 800 grand or something like that in legal fees, because of course we knew in the state like Minnesota, they were absolutely just not going to let this go, which is obviously protected under First Amendment grounds. Like, sorry, First Amendment protects quote unquote hate speech. You can just walk right up to somebody and drop an N-bomb. That's not illegal.
Also remember that the her GoFundMe acted as a reaction against Carmelo Anthony's.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right, Pete. Yeah, it's a forgotten detail about this case. Yeah, I think, God, I totally forgotten about that.
Well, and the other detail too, if we talk about like what happened, is that the 9-year-old actually stole applesauce out of the bag. So it wasn't just rummaging through it. He took something, and then they started recording, and they basically started daring her to actually say the magic word, right? These gamer words, right? So she's daring her to do it. She does it and like, oh my God, it's the meme, right? Like, oh, you said the thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I mean, we knew at the time that, of course, there was going to be a great legal fight that was going to ensue over this stuff, just by the nature of Minnesota, which good on you guys who are still sticking it through up there. I know we got ourselves a Minnesota chapter in the OGC, but man, oh man, like it looks rough up there. I've been to Minnesota once in my entire life, and I really see no reason to ever go back. But anyway, so the trial was going on all throughout last week. We actually have some clips here that we're going to show in the aftermath of it, because from what I can gather, this lawyer guy here isn't actually like a turbo-based kind of dude. He's kind of just a typical lawyer. Maybe he's like vaguely conservative or what have you. But the guy was just flabbergasted at what was actually allowed to be presented as evidence and what wasn't allowed to be in this case, and the blatant violations of established procedure going on in this case or what have you. We'll get to that in a second here. But anyway, so the trial concludes, and what happens? Miss Hendrix is found guilty of disorderly conduct, not for saying a gamer word to a child, which honestly, like, is kind of weird to me. I thought they would actually get her on that one and not the adult one, but it's actually kind of the reverse. So she's found guilty of disorderly conduct for dropping the gamer word to the adult, and not guilty of dropping the game award to the child for disorderly conduct, which again, kind of found that was a little strange. But she's required to pay a fine and do community service. So, I mean, the first thing we need to start off here is a lot of people are talking about, oh, well, it's just a fine and it's just community service. So what are you guys like really flipping out about? This isn't that big of a deal. It's not like she's going to jail or something like this. It's like the same shit with this other story where we talk about as it relates to Dr. Fauci. It's like, it's just a vax, bro. It's just 2 weeks, bro. It's just staying indoors for a couple days, bro. It's just don't go and see your grandma, bro, or what have you. We know how this game is played. Any other thoughts on?
Yeah, absolutely. So you contrast this against what happened with the sexual misconduct again, that this individual who recorded it, literally his charges were dropped during the trial, right? So prior to it even like kicking off, he was going to have to, say he was being charged. They dropped the charges against him. So this is what it was absolutely infuriating. So you have the treatment of someone saying a gamer word against literal charges of sexual misconduct that get dropped during the trial. That's what I think is the biggest problem. I think you talk about a two-tiered justice system. I heard this thrown around a lot at me throughout my entire life. Well, what truly is the two-tiered justice system that we're looking at now? Free speech versus like actual sexual misconduct that isn't taken action against. Like, that's what's so upsetting to me about this thing. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
My thoughts are that if a year ago Walls and the rest of the cabal up there had been arrested and thrown in Guantanamo Bay, judges like this would think twice about, how they conduct their courtroom, how they see verdicts. A judge can overturn any verdict that they think is wrong, that they think doesn't stand up to the evidence. And we have states in this country. We talk about, we're taking they're all going back. They're all going back, and we're going to have our country again. There's whole states that aren't the United States, and Minnesota is one of them. And I guess that's okay because Iran has nukes, or Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, or Iran needs regime change, or Greater Israel Project. Yeah, no.
Pete, how could I forget about any of those things? I mean, my goodness, those things are really, really at the heart of what the American people truly want addressed right now in this trying time in our country's history, man. Thank you for bringing up the most important issues of our time, the Strait of fucking Hormuz.
I just needed to remind you that the Strait of Hormuz needs to be open. I think it was open on February 27th. What happened between then and now?
Pete, that's propaganda. Why are you tuning out?
Oh, this leftist talking points.
You're a third worldist, Pete. Don't you know that?
Yeah.
Proudly.
So of course, Pete, you're right that if action was actually taken here to quote unquote put the fear of God into these people, one of the interesting stories, we're going to show a picture of this judge in a second here for this case, but another thing that stood out to me, we don't have pictures of this one, but do you guys hear the story in the last 2 weeks? Do you guys remember that judge? I think it was up in Milwaukee or Madison or something. One of these other female activist judges who was actively trying to pull cover for an illegal immigrant and try and like rush him out of the courtroom so ICE couldn't like pick him up or something. And she got off with just like an absolute slap on the wrist kind of crime. Like, this is literally a judge, here just actively, releasing foreign rapists and gangbangers into our country. And it's like the same point here. It's just my buddy Aaron Clary makes this joke about how, in the future, it's like the Sam Hyde joke about like a female cop. It's like, well, you better hope you don't get a female judge, man, because holy fuck, you're just gonna be found guilty every time, you white man. So, but anyway, so let's listen to what Shiloh Hendrix's lawyer had to say about this. Like I was saying earlier, I kind of prepped this by saying, this guy doesn't seem to me to be like, the conservative activist kind of type. He's just kind of like, what the fuck? I've been practicing law all this time, and this is how we're supposed to conduct ourselves? What the hell is this shit? So let's hear what he has to say.
We're going to appeal it. We will appeal it. We have so many appellate issues, I don't even know where to begin. Judges screaming at me during the trial. Judges interrupting me every time I want to make a record. Judge says to me, Mr. Corrales, you keep wanting to make a record after I ruled. This is crazy. Most rulings during a trial by a judge are made during the trial. And then when you take a break, you make a record, right? You take a break, you make a record. I kept asking. If you're in there and you watch the trial, I kept asking, I need to make a record. I need to make a record. She'd get upset, run in the back. Get upset, run in the back. Your Honor, I need to make a record. It started piling up. All these objections started piling up. Your Honor, I need to make a record. I need to make a record. She'd run in the back. I'm like, Judge, we got to make a record. This is insane. This isn't law. This is a circus. This is monkey court. This is nuts.
No, so there you go.
It's certainly monkey court in Minneapolis.
I knew you were going to make that joke, Pete. How did I know? Beep. That's also not even addressing the absurdity of having two translators in the courtroom, send things back and forth to people so they can understand what is going on with the witness testimony and what have you. It's just, it's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to realize, if you can't make a record on the initial trial, as you go through the appellate process without that record, that's why she was leaving the room. So if he doesn't get this stuff on the record during the trial, then it's much, much harder. Like, you can't even really admit evidence after that, right? So if you don't get it in the trial, it hurts your appeal. So that's why she was leaving the room. So it's just kind of extremely shitty behavior from the judge to not allow the defense attorney to get this stuff on record. That's the point. This is why this is so destructive and why he's freaking out.
Yeah, just a blatant violation of very obvious court norms. And they had to throw all of this aside because a small, tiny little 5'4" mom decided to drop an N-bomb, to a foreign invader. Oh, the horror.
It reminds me of Burden and I just reviewed Caddyshack on my show, and Caddyshack 2, Jackie Mason's lawyer is Randy Quaid at his absolutely most insane, and they're just like, oh, we're just going to tie you up in court. He's like, oh, you're going to tie me up in court? What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to your house with a flamethrower. And I was expecting this guy to break into that at any moment, and I mean, why not?
This club's exclusive, Wang. Don't tell him you're Jewish. Amazing. So, I mean, it's just like every week we get on this show now and just show how the very established American norms are just under attack somewhere in the country. This woman is literally found guilty of saying a word. It's 100% protected by the First Amendment. Yeah, there might be an appeal. Yeah, maybe it'll go to the next, circuit judge, wherever. But the fact that we even have to get here at the start tells you we're in a pretty rough shape. Expect more of this kind of stuff. But what's going to happen when, people start jailing anybody for saying naughty words on social media like they do over in the UK now?
Yeah, this is the beginning, right? Yeah, this is how it starts. I mean, you've already seen the officers showing up at people's houses in the United States. We try to pretend that it isn't here, but if you pay attention, cops are showing up for saying naughty words on the internet in the United States of America today. And if the court system is convicting people for saying words like this, we're on the road.
Well, I mean, I expect this to be overturned on appeal, but it still just shows where we're at, and it just shows that it honestly shows that no one is scared of the administration.
Yep.
For all they want to talk about fascism, for all they want to talk about no one is scared, and they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be. They operate with impunity.
Yeah.
They
You have
do
no
what-
idea the nothing I will unleash. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we're going to get into more about being feared by the administration when we get to the next story. But, yeah, I mean, this judge here, this Christina Daly character, which, I don't know. Do I need to do an early life check? I mean, part of me actually suspects, like, being in Minnesota, probably not. In this case, for once.
Just a fucking shit lib. Just a shit lib.
Yeah, exactly. And you were mentioning like the sentencing being overruled on appeal, Pete. Well, it's like it's not going to be that way for forever, because more judges like her are eventually going to infest the ranks ever more and more and more. And when you get to more and more higher ups that behave like this woman, it's like, what does jury of your peers even mean anymore, right? It's like, oh, the people in your community all throughout your jury are various shades of brown nuns that just showed up on our shores yesterday. And you got your 10th Circuit Court of Appeals judge, Abdul Al-Kaboom here, who's going to tell you, oh, sorry, game over, there's violation of First Amendment, just wait, that'll be coming.
Can you imagine the change in the country if you just removed all females from positions of authority?
Oh, my goodness. No.
I mean, we talk about what a start that would be.
We live in a totally different world. Completely different world. Oh. Ugh. That really is. Hashtag do not endorse. Do not endorse. Anyway, but moving right along here, that's not the end of what Shiloh's lawyer had to say on this one. So he, I got to give this guy credit. He really knows how to deal with journos. So I'll give him credit for that. Let's listen in.
Did your client show any remorse after getting out of the courtroom today regarding the statement by the NAACP president about the impact that this incident had on the community as a whole?
You asked me this before. This is for you people. This is a clown show. The community. The community doesn't give a shit. Okay? I'm voir diring the community. Half the people in the jury room are like, when I'm voir diring them, why are we here? What is this about? Why are we, what's going on? You asked me this before, like, oh, what about?
I did not ask you that before.
Last interview, you said, oh, what about the community? Like, how has it affected the community? There is such a tiny percentage of people that drive this stuff now. Your cancel culture, you write this stuff, let's make it go viral. You're all part of the same sickness, right? Oh, how do we get hits and clicks? And you're dying. You're dying. Your news organizations are literally dying because nobody believes you anymore.
What about the fact that Jake Lang was there?
I asked this jury on this trial, who here believes the media anymore? Who here looks at the media and go, I don't know what to believe. I don't really trust any of these people
But what
anymore.
does the media
They all raise their hand.
What does this have to do with
Because
the media?
all you look for are hits and clicks. You're going to cut this in a way that benefits your hits and clicks, and you're dying. You're just dying. You guys are dinosaurs. Oh, keep going. It does. You're not going to give anyone an honest shake. You're not going to do the research. You're not going to look up Rule 901. You're not going to press the prosecutor. You're not going to press the judge. You know what you're going to press? Whatever woke shit you can come up with. That's what you guys push. Woke shit over and over and over again. Do your jobs. Investigate. Maybe learn something. Be fair. Have you ever thought about that? Fairness. Try it. Try it sometime.
Good for this guy. And a reminder to everybody in the chat and any of those listening afterwards, all journalists are bastards. All journalists are bastards. All journalists are bastards.
Well, yeah, I mean, just talking to one, it's like, people are like, oh, this journalist reached out to me and said that that they're going to write a hit piece on me. What do I need to do? Ignore them. They're nothing. It doesn't fucking matter.
100%. 100%.
Ignore them.
Don't ever fall into these people's frames. Don't ever give them an inch for any reason whatsoever. These people are scum, lowest vermin on the entire earth. They're not worth any of us reacting to. Don't step into their frame. Never give them a single moment of airtime, period, ever. They could write any hit piece they want, ignore it, don't give it oxygen, don't talk to them, don't even look at them. Never engage with a journo under any circumstances, ever.
There's a fucking wing at Guantanamo Bay just waiting for these people.
100%.
That's where they spend the rest of their fucking lives. Just
Mm.
have them fucking planting tobacco so we can have some fucking Cuban cigars here.
Yeah. So, congratulations to this guy for expertly handling journalists. Yeah, I do have to say, it's becoming more and more common for people to have the right kind of reaction to this kind of stuff, which is a positive development. I do say so myself. Very, very good. This guy's like, yeah, you guys aren't going to give us a fair shake. We're literally having a trial for somebody who said a naughty word to somebody else. And any other time in history, we'd be like, what? Are you kidding me? Back to what you were talking about, Pete, is like if we just removed all women from positions of power, if there were actually men in charge of these things, be like, wait, what? Somebody said a naughty word to somebody, and you want to start a trial, waste taxpayer funds and resources, make people waste time, lose their, take time off of work to come to a jury trial for an entire week for this shit? Are you fucking kidding me? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's a great point, because you think about like what prosecutors do, like they just bring this kinds of stuff up to highlight so that they can build up a bunch of brownie points with the right kinds of people to further their political career with whatever is after being a prosecutor. And in a state like Minnesota, doing this, like looking like a warrior against people who say naughty words, will get you a lot of political brownie points there with the people that run that state. And so you always have to remember, those prosecutors, that's what they're doing. They are just mining these kinds of things for their careers to move themselves forward. Like that's what this is about.
Absolutely. And you know what? I mean, well, let's put somebody else in the crosshairs too. Not just the activist judges, prosecutors, journos, or what have you, but conservatives in general. I remember when the story was popping off, immediately people were criticizing Shiloh Hendrix for all sorts of reasons. Oh, she's got plenty of tattoos, so she must be a hoe, or something like this. I saw a lot of takes going around about that.
Oh,
like,
the quote unquote white identity people who immediately start, like, whenever someone like this pops up, they immediately go, I bet she has a black boyfriend.
I remember Richard Spencer was saying shit like that.
Fuck these people, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Fuck these people. They do that all the time. They did that with Irena Zarutska. Oh, look, it says Black Lives Matter. She wasn't even in her own fucking house when they took that picture. These people are fucking scum. They're not on our side. And I mean, really, fuck them. Fuck them in the ass with a fucking rhino ridden with AIDS.
Nice. It's just so infuriating. It's like we have a clear and cut case of a blatant speech is obviously protected by the First Amendment. We're just whittling away some of our most basic rights, inching ever closer to the absolute hellscape they have going on in Europe right now. Because, I will remind everybody once again in chat that in Germany, you can be arrested for criticizing a politician on social media. And this happens to tens of thousands of people per year. There are more people sitting in political prison right now in the UK than fucking Russia for saying mean words on Twitter. What a
and remember, right? Like the Europeans think they have free speech. If you talk to them and you ask them, do you have free speech? They'll say, yeah, I've got free speech. But that's not the way that Americans understand free speech. Like, seriously. And the other thing too is like, all right, so then somebody's gonna say you can't say fire in a crowded movie theater, man.
Fuck off.
Like that's you can't do that. Like, this is dangerous speech. You can't just say fire.
God, it really to quote a good friend of ours, Pete, so many people are alive just because it's illegal to kill them. It really is. It's just so, and I'll tone that down a little bit and to say that there are just so many people in the world who just need to be punched in the face, man. It's like if somebody comes up to me and like tries to say some shit like that, it's like, really? It just really goes to show how completely feminized our society is, man. We're gonna have all these catty back and forth. This fucking journal up here saying, "Oh, well, what do you think that this just saying this word has had the effect on this community? And what do you think Shiloh has done to these poor foreign rapists and defrauders and murderers that we've allowed in this country? How could you possibly even allow her to say?" It's such a fucking joke. God. Charlemagne in the chat. Oh my God, I'm not gonna read that,
but but literally, this attorney's like, the community didn't care. The community didn't give a shit. And during voir dire, like talking to all the jurors, like, wait, why are we here? What are we doing again? Huh?
Yeah. So, total clown world. I mean, one person I will give praise to in all this, though, one person I will praise has been Matt Walsh. Okay. We've had plenty of criticism on Matt Walsh on this show for a lot of very obvious reasons throughout the years. But you know what? Matt Walsh came out on the right side of this one, literally from the very beginning. I remember he was on side with this last year, and this past week he was going off on this, saying this is just, well, like, what kind of country do we have if Anthony Fauci cannot be prosecuted for his crimes? We're going to get to him in a second here, but Shiloh Hendrix is for hers. So good for you, Matt Walsh. You're progressing nicely. I just wish you, wouldn't be working for organized Jewry. But we'll fix that at some point. All right. Do we have anything else to say on the Shiloh Hendrix case? I mean, Pete's talking about how they're likely going to win on appeal. That seems likely. We'll see what happens. But the fact that we even have to waste all the public time and the resources, and the fact that anybody's even going to bat for these fraudster Somalis that are showing up in our country, defrauding the American people of billions upon billions of dollars, contributing nothing at all to our society whatsoever, and we're wasting all this time and effort because somebody dropped a gamer word, rightfully so, upon these foreign invaders. It's like, jeez.
It's just one fucking woman moment after another.
Yeah, really.
Fucking smart.
Yeah, really. I wonder what would have happened if, like, what if Shiloh Hendrix, like, just like in the sandbox at the just like started an N Tower, like in the sandbox at the playground, would that be protected speech? Anyway, so okay, well, we already mentioned the next segue into the next story here, because public enemy number one, Shiloh Hendrix here, a danger to the American people, a danger to the Somali community everywhere, gets prosecuted. But what about the chief architect of the COVID lockdowns, the guy who was on TV every single day saying that, it's really is just so crazy, because 6 years ago, it's just so evil because people just completely sweep all this stuff down on the rug, okay, under the rug. Now, for some reason, YouTube has been throwing me like highlights of baseball games recently. And for some reason, it showed me some highlights of the 2020 World Series where they had almost nobody in the stands, and they had the fake like cardboard box cutouts of people. You had managers and third base coaches and first base coaches literally wearing masks in the middle of a baseball diamond and stuff like this. Like, people forget the level of insanity that was going on during COVID, which is all brought on by this evil fucker that we're about to show on the screen in a second here. Okay, people couldn't see their family members. People lost out on their jobs. People got trapped into very terrible habits, like being, not going out as much, becoming shut-ins, becoming recluses. Relationships were shattered. People didn't have kids, during this time. People didn't have preventable diseases caught, like cancer screenings or things like this. People have died from things like the jab that was forced upon people. People lost their careers. People weren't allowed to see their family members. People weren't allowed to go to funerals for their family members. It is just crazy, absolute clown world of the highest order what was allowed to go on in our society during the COVID years, and it's just completely swept under the rug. Nobody's being punished for it whatsoever. So I mean, we criticize Rand Paul, rightfully so, for a lot of things on the show, but I will give him credit for this. He's really just been the one guy who's been laser focused on this, like a T-1000, like, oh, we're going to bring Fauci forward. We're going to come out with the Fauci files. We're going to bring him under all these congressional hearings and whatnot. But what happens when this guy is hauled forth in this committee hearing? Well, let's see what Senator Josh Hawley has to say.
Mr. Chairman. Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Anything you say, fifth. Go ahead, ask me a question. Did you fifth?
I remember that episode. That was hilarious.
Thank you, Dave Fauci Chappelle, for that one. But, I mean, we could have, brought the clips up of Rand Paul opening the hearing and the cross-examination, everything. But this is just all it was. No matter what question was asked of Fauci, he just sat there and took the fifth like a crying little bitch. This man is responsible for millions of deaths around the entire world. Okay. This guy shut down the entire country. People, you know what? Do you know what else I'm seeing right here? Look at that little fucking goblin on the right-hand side, woman with her glasses there, like smiling at us, as he's like, oh my God, look at him. Isn't he so amazing? He's just showing these Republicans who are asking him questions up there. Fuck you. Unbelievable. Just so infuriating. The fact that this guy is allowed to even walk in polite company in this country without immediately being taken out back and strung up for the gibbets of his own and for the sport of his own crows, to quote King Theoden, is just a huge indictment on our society. It's just unbelievable. And you know what? Why don't we actually go over the Fifth Amendment here for a little bit, saying that you're not, you could avoid self-incriminating yourself here. What is self-incriminating about the color of your tie or the color of the carpet or what day of the week it is? This is just nothing but, you know what this sounds like, Pete? This sounds Talmudic. That's what this sounds like. We're just going to rules lawyer our whole way, avoiding justice.
Our court system is very Talmudic. From what I understand, if he would have answered one question, that would have destroyed his immunity. That's what I think Judge Knapp said that. Don't quote me on it. What I do want to say is, the Fifth Amendment, if we got hauled into court, the Fifth Amendment is meant to protect us from government tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is the fucking government tyranny. He doesn't get the Fifth Amendment. Fuck him. This is such fucking bullshit. I just hope that this guy fucking dies of just fucking painful ass cancer. What a fucking scumbag. There's no telling how many people he's killed. I mean, I want to talk about, the Ayatollah and, Hezbollah and Hamas. This guy's killed combined more than all of them.
This guy killed more people than Hitler. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you try to talk to people about COVID anymore, it's just completely been thrown into the memory hole. So to have any accountability for him, like people are like, oh God, I don't want to think about COVID. And it's like, my gosh, don't you understand like what happened to you, your family, like the economy, for God's sakes? Like this kicked off all of this, right? Like the inflation, like I think it had played a major role when the federal government just threw all of this stuff onto their back and basically nationalized the entire economy, right? I think it's downstream from a lot of this, all of that. So I don't know. That's what I think about when I see this guy's face.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Pete.
I forgot how angry I was during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
I forgot how much.
Yeah, me too.
Like how much I was fucking literally fed posting during COVID, and it had all subsided until this week, until I saw this, man. All that fucking anger just came back. I cannot believe that we fell for that shit. And it's just really, when you look back on that and you think of all these people who are like, man, we just need to vote harder and everything. What the people who like fell for this, the people who defended it, the people who fucking stayed home, the people who put masks on their kids, that's who you, I mean, and don't give me this bullshit that it was all Democrats. I was in a fucking bright red area at the time. It was fucking Republicans too.
Mm-hmm.
All these, the normies are fucking worthless when it comes to trying to move to get out of this fucking hellhole and this fucking regime we live under. Waking up, we just need to wake up the normies. I mean, we have people that we love that are normies, and the work we do is to try and help them to at least be able to navigate this. Not everybody's going to be able to, have a voice, be able to do anything, become politically active, or do anything, or community organize, or do anything like that. But at least we can try and help them. But if you think that you're going to be, we're going to wake up 100 million people, and then we're going to get 100 million people to do what?
Yeah.
No, you're just looking. It starts with you and your fucking friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was the
this
hardest
whole
thing.
is about.
Right, Pete? That's the hardest thing. Like the realization that most people don't want to be free. And when you start from that orientation, then it really kind of informs the way that you think about politics. Like if most people actually don't want to be free, then you have to start re-examining your base beliefs around human beings, representative democracy. Like it opens up and like in one way, Fauci's responsible for a lot of people asking that question. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
if
true.
everyone is just moving around like sheep and we essentially, like, if you are a person who wants to be free, wants to be left alone, and you see everyone else, it really drew that stark contrast. So in a way, I don't know, like it was bad times, but it caused a lot of people to start re-examining their political priors and what they thought America was about. And so in that sense, COVID was that for me. I think it's for a lot of people. And so I don't know. It's just, we just got to figure out how to continue to organize, find our friends, and move forward, right? But not forget these people. We don't want this memory hold. We need these memories. We need to remember what these people have done. And someday they might be held accountable, but we can't forget this. We cannot throw it into the memory hole.
I think that this conversation, although it shouldn't end right here, is definitely going to be a really good lead-in for the next one.
Oh yeah, it absolutely will. It's that the other thing I would just like to remind everybody about this, about the insanity that occurred during the COVID years. Okay, it is no stretch of the imagination to say that what happened to the entire world, which is largely to be put at the feet of this guy right here, who was funding this gain-of-function research, who was responsible for the creation of this virus in the first place, or had a hand in doing so. It was leaked from a lab, spread over the entire world, shut down entire economies, killed millions of people. Okay, of course, won't be punished for it whatsoever. But what happened in response, largely done to fluff this own man's pathetic little faggot ego, okay, is the most insane thing that has happened in the entire history of the planet. Okay? We shut down the entire world for a cold. People were psychologically tortured by their own family members and friends, saying that they were not allowed to see each other unless they got an experimental treatment forced upon them, which many people have since died from. Many people have had spikes in turbo cancer. Many people have become infertile from these jabs that were forced upon them by these people. We have people lose entire businesses that are never going to come back. The relationships that young people even have with each other, like going to common spaces to meet each other, whether it's the bar or things like college and schools, the way people interact with each other online. It is the most insane thing that has happened in the history of planet Earth. And nobody will be punished for it whatsoever. Okay? Which I guess is what we're going to get into in the next part of this topic here, is that the response from everybody to clap like seals in the conservative movement saying, oh my God, look at Josh Hawley. Isn't he so amazing? He got Dr. Fauci to sit there and just say, plead the fifth every single time. It's like, again, Pete mentioning what you were saying about this, the previous story is like, this guy isn't afraid. Dr. Fauci isn't afraid for anything. The fact that he can just get up there and say, plead the fifth, when we have on confirmation, because the whole reason why we're having this in the first place is because this guy, actually kept his own private correspondence and diary on a government server that was able to be accessed.
Dude, it was a fucking scrapbook. He's a woman.
Yeah.
It was a scrapbook of all his appearances and nice things that famous people were saying about him. He's a fucking woman.
Yeah. I mean, and also just the absolute gall, the fact that these people have no fear whatsoever, just blatantly showing that they are guilty of crimes in his own private correspondence they put on a government server. He came, we have 100% proof that he perjured himself on a previous visit. When he was in another one of these hearings, he said that he did not fund gain-of-function research. He literally fucking says it in his diary entries that he was responsible for it. We have concrete 100% proof of evidence that this guy, at the very least, perjured himself. Not to mention the actual crimes he's guilty of, like murdering a bunch of people and locking everybody in their homes, all basically to, it's just so crazy. And the only thing that we could say is, oh, well, what could we do about this? Biden gave him a pardon. There's nothing that anybody can do. Well, maybe if we do this double secret extra probation way of, putting him under for the next kind of hearing that we're going to have, and maybe we'll get him on this and maybe we'll get him on that. It's like, oh my God, I can't even say what should be done to this guy, but we all know it. We all know it. We all know what should be done to this dude. I can't say it here, but we all know it. No, and the fact that everybody in the conservative movement is just clapping like seals once again, like for the viral clips of, oh my God, did you see the base thing that they made him say, during the Senate hearing or the committee hearing or whatever the fuck this is? Oh man, we're one step closer to winning now, guys. We made Dr. Fauci look like a fool. This dude is sitting in his house right now laughing all the way to the bank, made millions upon millions of dollars throughout this whole thing, is responsible for destroying the lives of literally every single person on the planet, unless you're living on like North Sentinel Island or some shit. Like you're some fucking abo in the middle of nowhere. Everyone on the planet was infected by this monster, by this son of a bitch.
And we're just still wearing masks.
Yeah, they are.
Right
they
people,
are.
People still wear masks everywhere. Outside. I go walk around New York City. People are still wearing fucking masks. And it's like, guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? Everywhere. I still see it everywhere.
People's minds have been broken literally for forever as a response to this.
Well, it's also, I mean, it's a fashion statement. It's a way of telling people that I'm a good progressive. I'm not one of those evil people. It's like, remember how almost immediately people, like women were bedazzling theirs.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, I mean,
fashion.
when you think back, if your memory is good from that year, dude, there is so much that will just infuriate you about about not wanting to save these people, not wanting to make, it's like, let them all fucking rot. It's so easy to fall into that too, because they all fucking deserve it. But man, that means we rot with them and ours rot with them. So
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. And again, this kind of stuff just happens every single time when we have something like this, where the Republican Party does absolutely nothing on a very key and very important issue for their base. Do you remember during the 2024 election when people were saying prosecute Fauci? And again, we haven't really talked about this guy much ever since like he came into the administration. But I got to throw RFK to the fire here on this one too. Coming out with that book, The Real Anthony Fauci, and talking about how this guy needs to be criminally prosecuted and what have you. It's like, where's RFK Jr. here? I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. He's tweeting out a bunch of pictures of him in Tanzania picking up puff adders and stuff like that in his spare time. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. But, where are you on this, dude? Where's anybody in the administration? Oh, wait, we can't do anything about that because Trump really is still in love with Operation Warp Speed, about how it's the greatest fucking thing ever. Well, it's just every time Republicans do absolutely nothing on a very key issue for their base, there's going to be some shill that comes out of like a crack in the floor and, you know, trying to do like damage control, saying, oh, well, please, please, please don't be mad. See, we're secretly doing this next thing, and you'll see that we'll get those nasty Democrats next time. And it's like, has this ever happened once? Like literally ever, that we're going to find like some new kind of procedure or what have you? It's like, no, if your solution to this problem here is to, oh, well, we're still going to do something within the system, which the system's rules literally are, I get to terminally lose for forever. Okay. If your solution is, oh, well, let's just try and get them through the system next time, guys, like you've learned nothing and you should not be listened to whatsoever. It's just ridiculous. It's the whole system that needs to change. Don't come crying to me saying, oh, we'll get them with this next, procedure. It's like, no, again, we all know what should be done to this guy. We all know what should be done to Deborah Birx and all these other losers that destroyed the entire fucking world. Everyone on the planet was affected by these people in some way.
Chris Cuomo murdered old people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
No, Andrew Cuomo, not Chris Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo.
Well, Chris Cuomo probably did too with the propaganda he was spurting on CNN, but telling people they can't get ivermectin. Yeah,
I remember. Don't question the science, or I guess it'll take the Fifth Amendment. Plead the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, but if you say it's a regime complete problem, you're a black pillar. You're blackpilling.
Yeah,
you're blackpilling.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just days away from Fauci being arrested.
Days away.
Yeah, these people are indistinguishable from QAnon. Don't worry, guys. Let's just vote a little bit harder, and we'll get Dr. Fauci next time. I mean, the one silver lining that I have to say on this, the only one, okay, is if you actually watch these clips a little bit more, this pathetic excuse for a man is just shaking like a leaf up there. Well, our good friend Semigog said something once on a stream that really stood out to me, saying the condition of sin is its own punishment. It's like, that is true. But you know what? I also would like the satisfaction and, do righteous unto the evil, in cases like this. So.
Oh, right in the chest.
Yeah, there we go. We need more guys like that in the world. The world would be a better place if we had more people like that and less female judges. The world would absolutely be a better place. That I am sure of. So again, well, I guess we're gonna see what the next round of clapping like seals is supposed to be. I wonder if like Rand Paul has any, like conception of some of the things that we're talking about here. I mean, or if he's just gonna run out and try and drag him out once again for another one of these hearings. It's like, if you didn't get him the first couple of times, why are you going to do this another 10 or 15 times? It's just, I'm tired of all this performativism. I'm tired of all the performative crap that we're just supposed to accept the scraps from the table and be like, oh my God, look, did we own the libs today, guys? Isn't that amazing? Look how foolish Dr. Fauci looks. It's like, dude, that guy doesn't fucking care. He made $12 million off this shit. He got away with murder.
Quit blackpilling. You can criticize, but remain loyal.
Unbelievable.
That's who these fucking people are. You can criticize, but remain loyal while you're getting fucked in the ass. I hope that fucking circumcised money is paying off for you guys.
Yeah, very frustrating indeed. We're going to get into the next story here because who's here to save the day with these great and very troubling issues of our time, whether it's the First Amendment being under attack, whether it's the fact that characters like this, there's just nobody around that could possibly, do anything about guys like this. We have no solution whatsoever, but who's going to come in to save the day? Look out. It's super conservatives with Rod Dreher and Jeremy Boring. I was talking about how, sometimes when we're talking on the show about like topics that are like a couple days old and, are kind of like old news or what have you. And I do have to give credit to our good friends, Jay Bird and Oren McIntyre. And I guarantee you, Dave, the distributist, will probably be talking about this on his show next week. This is just right up Dave's alley. You can imagine there's no way he's not going to be talking about it. But, we just have to talk about this because it's just a perfect it's just like the most perfect example in the world of why we are so upset with establishment conservatives and why they all need to be destroyed. Okay, so boy, oh boy, do we have a lot of clips that we have to go through here. So let's listen to this first one with this interview that Rod Dreher is having with a former Daily Wire executive Jeremy Boring. Let's listen in.
Deeper issue here is a desperate search for identity. And this, I mean, I don't think there's any real chance that, the Christian nationalism of the Reformed bros or integralism or whatever the ortho bros are getting at, I don't think it has a chance of becoming a major phenomenon, thank God. But what it's doing is it's serving almost as an inoculation against the gospel. I keep hearing from Orthodox priests, it's my own church, that some of these young guys are turning up because they've gotten turned on to Orthodoxy by watching something online. They show up expecting to see white people at prayer, or they want to hear anti-Semitism, or they want to hear some form of racism or a sacralized racism, and the priests have to deprogram them. Like, this ain't what it is, guys.
First of all, X to doubt, like on this one. Okay,
it's just it's all fucking lies.
Yeah,
it's like, lies.
Yeah, like, okay, writes a book, live not by lies, right? Just obviously telling a blatant one. It's like, okay, cite your work here, Rod. Okay, but that's not even the most egregious part that is going on in these clips. So let's listen in.
And we're happy that they're showing up, but they show up thinking they know everything there is to know, and they want to fight. I'll tell you this, though. I had a conversation with a Catholic Zoomer convert who told me that the core thing that all pastors and priests need to understand is that the church, broadly speaking, is in a fight now with vitalism. What does he mean by vitalism? With a general philosophy that worships strength and excellence, the pagan virtues. He said,
pause.
If the Christian...
It's such fucking bullshit.
What?
Have you heard of the fucking Crusades?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Inquisition?
Yeah. Strength, a pagan virtue.
Excellence, a pagan virtue.
Oh my God. It's like, listen here, right? I mean, we've had discussions in the online right for a long time with our pagan friends. Some of them, we would even call them friends of the show, right? But this is literally like the Nietzschean genealogy of morals, like critique here, right? About Christ cocks. They're literally just saying it. They're just owning up to it right now. This argument that we have with the pagans all the time about, no, this actually isn't Christianity. Look at like the Ghibellines, look at the Crusades, and historically Christian countries all throughout medieval Europe or what have you did not behave this way. Well, but these guys are literally just owning up to it right now, immediately ceding ground, saying, oh, well, of course, excellence and strength are virtues of pagans. God, what a bunch of fucking losers. Carry on.
Churches don't figure out how to speak into that hunger. Young men have a legitimate hunger for being able to do something, for being strong.
Pause.
Then it's going to...
Pause. How about the churches be fucking stronger?
Oh, no, we can't do that, Pete.
How about that? How about that? How about you don't have fucking, like right now, some fucking somebody on Twitter who says they're a Baptist pastor who's trying to dox Orrin. What is that, strength, or is that like womanly shit? It's fucking feminine shit. It's these churches that, I've said it over and over again. There's no good churches right now. There's no good denominations. You just have to go find if you're a Christian, you have to go find a church that is strong unto itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is across everything. That's across everything. I mean, pagans have to deal with the fact that there's like 2 billion pagans in the subcontinent.
Yeah.
That you don't want to I don't have anything to do with those pagans. Same shit. There's Catholic churches that fly rainbow flags out in front of them. There's fucking Presbyterians. The PCA has talked about, like women pastors before. in the very immediate past. All of these, it's all falling apart. You want to the answer to your question, Rod, is these churches act like men, raise up men, and produce strong men and not women. Because if you're going to act, if your pastor has pastor voice where they talk like this all the time so that they can get people to come in because they that it's who's that for? Who are you attracting with that? It's fucking bullshit.
And there's no difference, right? That's the biggest thing. There's no difference between what the church is saying, what the world is saying. And the reality is that there's lots of priests, there's lots of pastors, but there's not a lot of spiritual fathers. That's something that is said over and over again. When these young men are coming to the church, they are seeking something that they can hold on to, like a spiritual masculinity, right? And that's what a spiritual father can give you if you find one, right? That is turning you into a better man. But these guys, that's not what they're saying.
It really just is kind of amazing if you put this in the context of the broader conservative movement, right? Where you have something that is a complete anomaly ever since the start of the Industrial Revolution, where you are actually having young men return to the church, bucking previous trends that have been going on for 100+ years at this point, in this age of, materialism and scientific discovery or what have you, and people in the rise of things like atheism or non-religiosity or what have you. So the thing that the conservative movement was talking about for decades, that we need to get people back into the church. And at the very first second that they get young men showing up, they're like, oh, well, not like that. You guys can't come back to church like that. And then the hilarious part here too is that in this own clip, Rod's like saying, well, then it's going to lose. It's like, you've already lost, motherfucker. We've gotten to this place because of you, because of losers like you two who refuse to deal with the situations that brought about these young men to have to come back to the church in the first place. Think, oh, it's going to lose in the future if we don't give, if we give in to these young men. It's like, dude, the church has never been weaker in the history of its entire existence. The church is at its absolute weakest right now.
Well, and Rod's own book, right, that he's known for the best is the Benedict option. So he talks about coming out of the world and being different. And you're talking about deprogramming these guys that are trying to make the church different than the world? What are you doing, Rod? Like, you don't even, you wrote this book. This is why it's so disingenuous to me. It's just like, my guy, you're not even taking your own advice. Like, what is going on? Like, it's absolutely mind-blowing where he is today. Like,
the sophistry on display from these two people is just unbelievable.
He talked about, coming out of the world. Well, you have to strengthen people to go into the world and fight. I mean, you go into the world and you fight God's enemies. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you have to love God's enemies. This is something that Ivan Aline wrote about in On Resistance to Evil by Force. You're not commanded to love God's enemies. Franco didn't love God's enemies. Franco killed God's enemies. For 20 years after the war was ended, he did. What the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's just so amazing that they just say the quiet part out loud there, where they're talking about how, vitalism, excellence, and strength are pagan virtues here, dude. I just can't believe it. I literally just can't believe that they say it. You literally are living up to the meme where the stereotype of the church and modern Christians is just to be a pussy and cry. And that's all these guys are fucking offering. Yeah, there they are, sitting in their little suits with their pampered hair and their well-groomed beards, and they're just faggots. They're fucking faggots. All of them are. Let's continue listening in. Let's see if it gets any better.
To lose, but this sort of moralistic, therapeutic, feel-good Christianity, a boomer-style Christianity, it's not going to cut it.
Yeah, it's absolutely not going to cut it. Which is why these.
What are you going to do about it?
Church.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah, well, that's like the summary of this entire interview, right? It's like, it's just rules lawyering. It's just oh no, you guys can't do that. We offer no solutions whatsoever. And even the idea of even discussing solutions is pagan, is evil, is woke right. Unbelievable. All right, let's move on to the next one. God, I'm fired up. I knew I was going to lose it this week when we had to go over some of these clips, but holy fuck. Here we go. We're going to listen to these guys talk about the rise of white identity politics. Buckle in your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen.
Woke right is in vogue. We've had conversations on this show about it. I'm curious how you define wokeness.
Wokeness is the catch-all term we use now to describe this illiberal leftism that tosses aside all of the classical liberal values, fairness, equality, et cetera, in exchange for an illiberal ideology, identity politics, especially built around identity politics.
Okay. This is the sleight of hand that these conservatives will always try and do and say that wokeness is identity politics. And they slide this in here, this weasel word saying identity politics, right? Well, let's talk about the actual identities that wokeness was against, shall we? White Christian males. And if you want to add something else into that, you could just say Western civilization in general. Okay. Did identity politics target, let's say, Black women, trans, gays? Was it used against them in any way? Or was it used against one class of people every single time? And that should tell you what it actually was. Wokeness wasn't identity politics. Wokeness was anti-white. Say it for what it fucking is and what it always was. Don't try and come in here with your fucking weasel words, you son of a bitch snake, and try and say that, oh, well, identity politics is what wokeness always was, and we need to be against identity politics. No. Wokeness is anti-white. Anytime anyone says woke is this, no, it's anti-white. Call it for what it is.
He spent the last 10 years in a country that's basically fights against identity politics, but has their own identity. Not fights against identity politics, but fights to keep their country, Hungarian. Well, I mean, what the fuck is going? It's always that everyone else can have identity politics, and I hope we get to the Zionist part of this because that's going to be my favorite part. But it's all right if everyone else has an identity, except whites. The white European can't have an identity. Why? Why, Rod? How come Jews can have an identity? How come blacks can have an identity? Fuck these people.
They're literally like talking about identities in the previous clip by just talking about the church itself. All these different sects are just showing up. That's an identity. What's wrong with that? That sounds like identity politics there. It's just so
there is
disingenuous.
No bigger identity politics than Zionism, than Judaism.
Yep.
It is the chief. I mean, it is, if you could put identity politics into a fucking dictionary, all you have to do is put Zionism right after it, and it would define identity politics perfectly. Oh, but that's fine because I'm a 6 million. Fuck off. I don't even care. I don't care. Oh, Jews got persecuted. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. What the fuck does that have to do with me? Oh, well, that could happen to you one day. No, that won't happen to me one day.
Yeah, it won't happen to me one day because I don't behave like them.
What a fuck! I mean, a fucking scumbag. And the only people who would persecute me are these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean,
these guys who are scared that I'm going to rise up, that people like me are going to rise up and persecute people. So, I need to be persecuted. It's like, motherfucker, we had people who were like, people in the past in history who've been like, yeah, those people over there are getting ready to invade us. We need to do something about it and do it preemptively. Oh, those people are wrong for doing that. They should have waited until they were attacked. They should have waited until they were getting slaughtered to fight back. And then this motherfucker, they'll just come in and fucking and do what he did to fucking Thomas Acord.
Yeah, I was gonna
fucking destroy his life.
Exactly. I was gonna bring that up too. I mean, just, bring out the point of what we're actually discussing in this clip here as well. But, these guys are constantly complaining about Schmittian exceptionism and, identity politics and friend versus enemy and stuff like this. When these guys practice it, literally in this same clip that we're about to finish up here in a second here. But in addition to that, it's like, Rod, you are one of the most feminine people in this entire thing who, instead of addressing the Thomas Accord issue like a man, okay, talking to people, face to face, you decide to bitch and moan about it and destroy a man's life, okay? And other people that we know. I don't want to discuss it here because I don't like airing out other people's dirty laundry like that. But people that everyone in this audience would know, somebody who's had their life basically entirely destroyed by Rod Dreher because he wants to cozy up to liberals and liberal priors. Fuck this guy. He's a fucking betrayer. Unbelievable.
And I think the other thing is that what is an identity? It's merely an organizing principle, like an organizing thing that you put around yourself that you say, I identify with this thing, X, I am this, right? So on its face, why are you attacking identity politics? Like, what is, if you just boil it down, like, what is it? Like, identity politics, I hate to say this, might just be politics.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna get to more in this clip here in a second. Let's listen in because it gets worse.
Politics. And this was something that we conservatives stood rightly against when the left started abandoning classical liberalism for wokeness. We thought this is going to destroy the country. But now it's here on the right. In this way, you see so many young men giving themselves over to white identity politics. I remember, Jeremy, I used to be a columnist at the Dallas Morning News. I remember about 20 years ago when the Democrats really began to turn at the beginning of the Obama era towards identity politics. I said, you don't want to go this way. You cannot valorize identity politics for non-whites without ultimately doing the same for whites. Yeah. I remember thinking a lot of these leftists.
Again, these people, they fall back on this trope every single time. You see the danger of identity politics, anti-whiteism they were talking about, is that you're going to have a backlash from white people who've been victimized afterwards. That's the fucking problem. That's what Rod Dreher dislikes. That's what Jeremy Boring dislikes. They don't care that white men were discriminated against in the workforce. They don't care that the women have been put in positions of power over them. They don't care that their country has been taken from them. They don't care that we flooded millions of foreigners into the country. The thing that this motherfucker is worried about is people realizing what has been done to them and organizing accordingly to rightfully take revenge against the people who have done this to us and to our homeland. Fuck this faggot. Fuck him.
Here's the thing. Okay. Oh, they're turning it now. It's white. They're embracing white identity. Yeah. When a Jew wrote the book Germany Must Perish, guess what Germans did? They rallied around being German. What the hell did you think was going to happen? And why would you stop it? It's like if there's a group of people that are being targeted, they need to fight back. The sole purpose of people like him and Jeremy Boring and Joel Berry and Seth Dillon and all of these scumbags is to say, no, you can't fight back. You have to just sit back and die. That's it. Because of, classical liberalism. The fuck is that? It's leftism. Do you know a classical liberal that's someone who calls himself a classical liberal that's a right winger? Get the fuck out of here. And he's over here going, and then the left, we have classical liberalism, and then people go left. Well, maybe they just went further left because classical liberalism is already on the left.
Yeah, it's just leftism. Classical liberalism is leftism, and there's nothing that you can say that it isn't, right? It's just, I hate to say this, I'm bringing back like old things, but what is a conservative other than a liberal driving the speed limit?
Where's Mr. Fahrenheit's clip of the conservatives? Where is it? We need to see it.
I don't know.
Main focus on the conservatives. They need to go. They all need to go. Every single one of them.
100%. Thank you, Mr. Fahrenheit. that evergreen quote right there. But no,
defenestration is the moderate position.
Yeah. All right, let's listen. Let's keep listening.
Who are embracing that. They think all white men are like the sort of soy boys they would see at a liberal arts college campus. Well, guess what? Here we are now. They have legitimized and called forth a demon of white identity politics that they're not going to be able to get away from. We on the right cannot accept that.
Right.
We just can't accept it. As a Christian, I say that, and as
Jewish
a conservative,
identity
I say
politics
it.
is
But
not
this is
a
what we
demon.
have to deal with now on our own side.
Yeah. Well, luckily for you, Rod, Jeremy Boring, nobody under 40 is listening to you losers anymore, because you are the ones who brought us to this position in the first place by deliberately ignoring the stuff that our enemies were doing to us, to the heritage American population, that you were put in charge of a conservative movement to monitor and to protect. You threw everybody to the wolves, and now you're upset that people don't want to listen to you anymore. Well, too fucking bad. Yes, you've awoken this demon of white identity politics. Yes, you have. And God, thank the Lord for it. We're not going back. We're never going back to listening to these losers ever again. Ever. They brought us to this place. Their own fecklessness has brought us to this. And you get what you fucking deserve.
Dave the Distributus asked the best question. He said, who's the audience for this?
Yeah. Fucking
is this like James Lindsay? Is that who it is? The faggot, the faggot, like mulattoes that like fucking follow James Lindsay and comment? Is that who it is?
It's respectability politics, right? Like these are just people who want to maintain their respectability within certain circles. And so they listen to people like this, especially, folks who go to church a lot, right? Like they're religious. They want to like keep their their neighbors happy. They don't want to be controversial about anything, but this is the kind of audience. But to your point, they're all over the age of 50. Nobody who is interested in listening to respectability politics anymore it's all just older people. It's seniors, right? Like anyone who is younger doesn't care about being respectable because of the world that we now live in America. Like we've been faced with the inheritance from these people, and I hate to say it again, but conservatives conserve nothing. So how we can't, what respectability do we have left?
Yep. They get what they fucking deserve. Well, we have another clip here. Let's listen in once again. Paragons of conservatism right here.
Didn't see what was happening. And I think this is another big problem too. People my age, I'm almost 60, I'm an older Gen Xer, certainly the boomers, we just don't see the reality that these Zoomers do. And I want to be charitable to the Zoomers in a way, because too many of us like to lecture them. I mean, I have kids. All my kids are Zoomers, and they're adults, and they're good kids. They're doing fine.
Kids you abandoned, you son of a bitch.
I think we raised them well, but none of them are political extremists. But I also know from that generation, talk to them about their generation, we older Americans are so disconnected from the struggles that they face, because all of our young memories were built in the 70s, the 80s, maybe even the 90s. And the whole digital experience and the experience of living in an America at war, since from virtually the time they were born, that has made, and then COVID, that has made an enormous difference, as you say, psychologically and inevitably politically and religiously.
Oh, and
so
who was responsible for that? I wonder.
Yeah. So empathize and do nothing. Is that, what are you saying? Empathize and do nothing? Is that what this is?
Yeah, exactly. No solutions whatsoever, because all the solutions are woke right and white identity politics and evil. And we have to do everything within the system that is literally designed for us to lose literally for forever. It's literally just Sam Francis's beautiful losers for forever.
I remember when God, I forget who Oren was interviewing. It was someone like Rufo or something. This is a couple of years ago. And he just, he said, look, we just got to get, or until we got to get rid of the Civil Rights Act. And I mean, they couldn't hear it. They can't hear it. It's like, no, if I say that, I'm going to get fired. Paul Singer is not going to give me money anymore. I can't take that position. That's why you can't fucking trust these people, man. These people, their income depends on them towing a line. They're just like politicians. Politicians have the opinions of the people who are the opinions of their donors. These people have the opinions of the people who pay them. That's it. End of story. You can't rely upon these people ever. They will stab you in the back. If Paul Singer calls Rufo and says, you have to say this, you have to tell, you can get a job at Panda Express and, it's $71,000 a year. Fuck you, man.
There's two things to say about this. Okay, so the first logical thought that comes into anyone's mind when Rod Dreher points out all these horrible wrongs has been done to young conservatives and young white men in this country, the first thing that goes through your mind is, well, who is responsible for that? Who has done that to us? Well, we can't talk about that because then we'd go up against the true exception that these guys have, which is talking about, of course, Israel. So we can't talk about that. But then the second thing, the next follow-up question you have is, oh, well, so there's people who did this to us, and then there were people who were put in positions of power to protect us from these people that have done this to us, and they were complete failures too. People literally like Rod Dreher. People literally like Jeremy Boring. People like all the other people in the established conservative movement who have brought us to this point. I feel like I'm sitting over here like Anton fucking Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. If the rules brought you to this point, then what use is the rule? It's exactly right. We can't talk about the people who did this to us. And God forbid we actually hold the people accountable who were supposed to be in our corner who betrayed us. God, you get so angry listening to these people. And Sean Weiland brings up a good thing in the chat here because he says, because boomers made their wait, hold on. He said that solutions would mean admitting that boomers sold out their children and their country, replacing them with foreigners. Yeah, exactly. If we were actually to face up to what has actually been done and hold the people responsible, it would have to be people like Rod Dreher. It would have to be people like Ronald Reagan.
Amnesty.
President Amnesty. Yeah.
In stereo, Pete.
And yeah, President Amnesty, and made caused our machine guns to cost like $40,000, and it takes forever to fucking get approved for one.
Yeah, paragon of conservatism. Well, so many of the issues we're dealing with today is because conservatives who were in a stronger position than we are now to actually stop the issues that are occurring sold us out and failed and are still sitting here 30 years, 40 years, 50 years later trying to control the conversation again and keep us all on the plantation. It's like, motherfuckers, you guys did this. It's your fault. I'm not the bad guy for pointing out your fucking failures. You guys are all a disgrace. The fact that anyone listens to you, that you guys have platforms, that you guys still get funding, that you guys still work day and night to prevent people like us from taking over these institutions, for actually fighting for our people and fighting for our future, stopping us from receiving funding, literally costing people their jobs in the case of Rod Dreher, throwing people to leftist mobs and the wolves of cancel culture because he wants to keep his cushy reputation. You guys are all betrayers. You guys are all pathetic. You guys are all losers. None of you should be listened to. And thankfully, none of you are by the future generations. We have one more clip to go through here.
Oh, there's more? Joy.
Yeah, I know.
Out and even spoken here about your trip to DC and speaking to young Zoomers who are working within the government, working within the administration, and you say 30 to 40% of them, and and growing. I would add, and growing, seem to adhere to this nihilistic worldview of sort of despair and revenge. It's not a constructive.
Pause.
Harold.
Pause. how are they working in Washington, D.C., working within the system like they want them to do, but at the same time, they're nihilistic?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And 30 to 40% of them are groypers. I
Citation
don't know,
needed.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take things that aren't true for 500. I mean, it's fucking bullshit. We know people who work in DC. It's not they do everything. If they find out someone's a groyper, they're gone.
Yeah, they get rid
No
of them.
one's admitting openly that they're a groyper.
No, I mean, and for the record, I mean, like, listen, you know, like, say what you will of Nick Fuentes. I mean, I know he said a lot of bad things about us, like, whatever. Okay, he can go do his thing, and we're gonna go and do ours. But I mean, are we really going to sit here for a moment and say that people are just randomly getting radicalized by listening to one Nick Fuentes interview and not actually like looking around to the state of their country, to the state of the job market, to the state of the hundreds of millions of foreigners in our homeland? Like, really? That's all Nick Fuentes' fault? You're going to put it at that guy's feet? Like, unbelievable, man. It's just, again, you know, they criticize Schmidt all the time and say that anybody who talks about Schmidt is a Nazi, and these people just do it at every opportunity. Friend, enemy, groypers, enemy, conservatives, friend. That's all these people do all the time. You know, it's like, oh, well, you guys should actually work within the system and go to church and go and get involved in politics. Oh, not like that. You got to do it the exact same way we've done in the system, that the rules are set up where we lose literally for forever.
No one will actually ever do anything. You just have to be a good person. Be a good person, you know? Don't say naughty things. Don't do anything. Be a good person. Go to church.
Got to be respectable. Got to hold on to these institutions. Like, the institutions, again, brought us to this point. The institutions put millions of Haitians in our home. The institutions made hot homes completely unaffordable for people. The institutions made it so women get preferential hiring in the workforce.
Yeah, you support families? How? You've made it impossible to even start one.
Unbelievable. Let's finish up this clip. My fucking blood is boiling just
Roll
listening
down.
to these assholes.
Who represents them politically?
Heavy sigh. I had hoped that JD Vance would be the
With
guy
whom you were friends.
for, it was an interview I did with him in 2016 for the American Conservative that launched his political career. It was an accident, but it went mega
Citation
viral
needed.
and boom, he was suddenly a
Fucking liar.
best-selling author. We stayed friends
Wow.
after that. I don't know that we're friends anymore. He cut me off after I went to visit late last fall to
Oh, like
talk
you
to him
cut off
about
your own
this
kids?
very thing. Now, I'm not going to disclose our conversation, but I will just say that I pointed out to him these people, the Fuentes, the Groypers, all of them are going to destroy conservatism in the Republican Party.
Good.
And I said to him,
Good.
because of your background, because of your age, you're uniquely positioned to draw a red line there. Say, no, we are not going to accept that. And I asked him to do it. It's not my position to say what he said, but I will say firmly, unequivocally, I do not think JD Vance is an anti-Semite. I do not think he's a racist at all. But I've written a couple of things since then calling on him to please be a leader, take a stand, take a stand for your own Christian beliefs, for your own wife, for your, but he hasn't chosen to do it.
Denounce people like the leftists that you decry.
Exactly.
Denounce anyone. Just stand up and call him a Nazi. Scream Nazi.
You know, it's not an
These
accident.
fucking faggots, man.
It's absolutely not an accident that these guys ended their discussion talking about JD Vance at a time when JD Vance has been targeted as persona non grata by all the establishment conservatives for reasons such as, ending the Iran war, which the majority of the base wants and that we didn't want to get involved with in the first place. But therefore, that makes JD Vance an anti-Semite. It is not an accident that these guys are targeting JD Vance. I mean, say whatever you will about the guy. I mean, we're not coming out here being like all out. pro JD Vance or something like this, but I mean, obviously I'd say he's the best option we have at the moment of the people who have announced for 2028, but it's not an accident what they're doing here. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny too. He goes like, you know what? I don't think that he's a racist. I don't think that he's anti-Semitic. It's like the implication. Oh, right, shivering, right? Like that's the, it's so amazing, right? Like, oh, we can't. He's just shivering there as he says the words.
Yeah, the whole thing. Here's the thing: is he's Orthodox now, right?
Supposedly.
Methodist, Catholic, Orthodox. At least I was Catholic, went over to Protestantism for a while, was like, I got to go back to Catholicism. I'm jumping around trying to find different things, is explicitly within the Orthodox faith that Zionism is forbidden. You're not allowed to be a Zionist. And that's all this whole fucking interview was about. This whole interview just comes right down to we have to protect Israel. That's it. That's the reason to bring up JD Vance. That's the reason to shit on Tucker in the interview. That's the reason to call for the denunciations of these people. It's all for Israel. He's not Orthodox. He is nothing. He is for himself. He's somebody who doxes our friends and leaves and abandons his kids. Fuck him. Fuck
Rod
him
Dreher,
and Jeremy Boring.
Rod Dreher is for Rod Dreher only. Pete, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason he's back in this country is because Viktor Orban and the patronage network that was supporting him over there got thrown out of office, and now he has to come back over here. I also had to laugh how in this interview how he was talking about how, I think I did a good job raising my kids. It's like, motherfucker, you abandoned your kids and left the country for over a decade. What the fuck are you talking about? Unbelievable. So
hate this guy so much.
Yeah, exactly. So
the worst.
Both of them, Joel Berry, all that crew. I mean, remember the whole thing about now isn't it crazy that that Candace Owens produces tweets from not tweets but like texts from 2023 where Charlie's referring to the tribe and everything. But here's the crazy thing is like someone like Seth Dillon, who and I put him in this class too. Joel Berry, Seth Dillon, Rod Dreher, Jeremy Boring, Ben Shapiro, all the same thing. Seth Dillon was at that meeting in the Hamptons to try to talk some sense into Charlie. What the fuck is he doing there with a bunch of Jewish billionaires? This whole network goes so much deeper when you see, and it's so easy to see what they're doing. When all you have to do is go and look at their posts. At this point, if I see anyone pushing classical liberalism and saying we just need to get back to classical liberal values, and that has nothing to do with white identity, I know who you're getting paid by. I know who you're aligned with.
Exactly.
You can't hide it anymore.
It's so obvious to see the one line that you cannot criticize with these people, the one thing that you cannot bring up: Zionism, Israel, and what is the greatest threat to that? White identity politics. That is the fault line for these people. Always has been, always will be. These people cannot be trusted. And these are supposed to be the leaders of the conservative movement, the people who are supposed to look out for young white men, the actual inheritors of this great country.
Yeah, this is the intellectual class of the right, is it not?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to use this as an analogy, but they're just the Mensheviks to our Bolshevism. Sorry. I know it's terrible, but it is actually. I mean, it's like the German conservatives to the NSDAP.
Yeah.
These are the German conservatives.
I do want to move on and get to a final breaking story that was going on today. But, I just have to say another thing about this is like, they go out of their way. We don't have the clip here because I don't really give a shit, but they talk about, like, Candace Owens or what have you. They talk about her in this one. I mean, number one, it's amazing to me how many people on the so-called right are just entirely trapped in a black woman's frame and just are constantly falling over themselves every day on Twitter talking about what this woman said on her podcast, which, sorry guys, I thought we were supposed to be, intellectual right-wingers here and aren't supposed to care what black women think, but, unbelievable. But then it's like Jerry Boring, the reason why Candace Owens exists is because of you, is because of establishment conservatives, is because you guys live in the same DEI regime that the leftists do. You guys play by the same rules. You guys wanted to hire women. You guys wanted to hire minorities. Why? Because you wanted to check boxes. And now your golem has come out against you. It's your own fucking fault. The whole existence of the whole, quote unquote retard right or whatever you want to say. It's like, no, I have no love for these people. I have no love for like Ian Carroll or Candace Owens or all these other weirdos that are out there. Okay. But they exist because of your failures. It is your fault that they are here.
Unwillingness to speak the truth about a situation has created an opening for what they refer to as the retard right. That is 100%. If you don't actually speak the truth about what is going on, then it opens up the pathway for those people to just go off into crazy tangents about things that are completely insane. They did this because they refused to face the reality of their situation and what they have done. That is 100% what they have done.
%100%. So, all right, I'm done talking about these losers. I'm done. We were really, we were really gonna only talk about these three big stories tonight, but this fourth one just came out today out of Spain. Well, actually out of Morocco, even though it's Spanish territory that is in Morocco. So here we are. Okay, this is from Quetta. I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly, but look, Camp of the Saints happening in real time. But it's okay, guys. We got the establishment conservatives here to give these guys jobs at the Daily Wire afterwards.
Look, I'm just saying, belt-fed weaponry is very, it's efficient. Well, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the thousands upon thousands of people. This is literally like storming the beaches on Normandy. Amphibious assaults going on here. Look at all these refugee young women and children coming in.
I forget who I forget who was saying it on Twitter earlier, but they were saying that they are actually not headed to Spain. Apparently, Marco Rubio is like flipping out over this because they're not going to be. They're going to be going to Europe. Spain won't even be a stop. Spain may be a stopover. This is for Europe. This isn't even for Spain. So apparently Rubio is like is on the phone with Spain saying, you have to do something about this. And, we'll see what they do. I mean, Spain is a very weird country at the point. They may be the most anti-Semitic country on the planet, but for, reasons that are different than some other anti-Semites might think, or use as a justification for their beliefs. But we shall see how this proceeds. But it looks like this is meant for Europe and not just for Spain.
Yeah, I mean, the picture just says it all. The footage here says it all.
It's jaw-dropping. I mean, it's honestly shocking to think that this is something that would be happening. I saw this footage and it's just, like you said, it's the Camp of Saints in real time. And the fact that you can't really talk about it either. If you were to talk about this, you'd be shut down. What do those establishment conservatives say about this? What would they say? What would they say?
You just have to give them constitutions, and they'll all be Americans.
Rule of law, yeah, 100%. Rule of law.
Or if you're a libertarian, you have to give them copies of Anatomy of the State by Murray Rothbard, and they'll all be libertarians.
These are all Americans who just don't have their paperwork yet.
They just don't realize it.
Yeah, according to Amy Coney Barrett. Yeah. So, okay. Well, jeez, just every day, man, every single day. Well, oh, here's some good old boys on the Spanish streets, showing these guys what for. Let's watch. Yeah. I'll tell you this much. It's not a coincidence that this is happening in Spain. Not a coincidence at all.
The timing is interesting. Didn't they just win the World Cup? Isn't that true?
They did.
Didn't they beat them? Didn't they beat one of the most philo-Semitic countries on the planet? Weird. Very weird.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the super chats, fellas. I'm done. I'm tapped out.
Cole's. I have to. Is it Cole's showing his comment? Running of the bulls.
So amazing. Okay. Alrighty. Starting from the top here of the super chats, and thank you everyone for coming by the show. Always a pleasure seeing everybody. From the top, we got our good friend Solid Snake 1964, as ever. He's the first guy in with the super chat, sneaking behind enemy lines with his cardboard box. For $5, he says, "Evening gents, had a huge laugh at the title card photo and the episode name. Nobody does it better than us, damn right. Here's some dollary dues for the art. Salute." Well, thank you, Solid Snake. You are a real American.
Real Americans.
Yeah, exactly. You know, see, Solid Snake knows. We have the best thumbnails in the entire scene. Ain't that the truth? Field Marshal Dawn Browning, the only woman who listens to this show, has a membership chat, which you two could get at the standing back and standing by tier. She says, "Good morning, beautifuls." That's right. It is morning over there in Oz. Well, thank you, Mrs. Browning. Hope all is well. Big time for $5 says, "Thumbnail got me for the OGC." Well, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, see, our thumbnails are the best. It's good that people are giving us recognition for it. You know, I remember like in the old days when people would just like send like, you know, $5 to the stream saying for the thumbnail or for the Marvel stream. That's some deep lore. If anybody in the chat gets that reference for the Marvel stream, I will laugh. You know, maybe there's some old heads in here, but yeah. Yeah, everyone should just be sending us $5 a week. Somebody do it for the thumbnail. Yeah, we work hard on these, man. Bolero 393 for
Doug does some great work on those.
True, absolutely.
Doug's the best.
Yes. Bolero 393 for $2. Nolan should have picked Shiloh for a Helen of Troy. Well, it's certainly better than Helen of Detroit that we got. That's for sure. Alex DW for $1.50 sends us a sticker of a burger. I've had some good burgers in my time. Yeah, so thank you. X Runner 55 for $5. He's always in the chat for our gaming streams behind the wall. So for $5, he says, "I was disgusted at how many journos were brought into the intelligence community under Obama." Yeah, I mean, God, they're just, again, like some of the worst people on the earth. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Seasider. Yeah, he's always sending us a super chat every single week. Seasider for $10 sends us a salute, and he says, "Rip Kavinsky."
Real Americans.
So, yeah, absolutely. All right. So, okay. I guess somebody died today, I guess. For that. City Break Dancer Man, always looking forward to reading your super chat name. Thank you. For $5, he says salute. Well, thank you, sir. You are a real American.
Real American.
Just in case, Kavinsky is the one who did like the soundtrack for the movie Drive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. So he died. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, he was only 50 years old.
Wow, that's unfortunate. Vaxxed?
I
don't know. Yeah,
complaining of headaches, day proceedings, his death, and everything.
Oof.
But they don't know yet. Yeah.
Well,
They suspect maybe a stroke.
No, rip. All right. Settle down, ladies in the chat. We got 2 of you in there. Oh my goodness, unacceptable. You know, 2 women talking back and forth in our chats. The mods aren't doing their jobs. All right, they're letting girls in here. What is this? All right. Alex, once again for $20 says, "May the spirit of Captain Hale and all the other patriots be with you. In the morning, we will win in the end." That is true. Well, I mean, listen here. All of us here on this panel certainly aren't getting rich off of this stuff. Let me tell you that. So we wouldn't be here if we weren't white-pilled for the future, and I certainly am. So, alrighty. Pete Budapest for $10 says, "I feel like in 90 days we're going to be watching a well-deserved electoral wipeout of GOP and Koenig is going to whine saying, 'How could this happen? I'm not going to have any of it. They earned it.'" Yeah, it's very true. I mean, one podcast that I have been listening to quite a bit recently is People's Pundit, Richard Barris and Robert Barnes. They've also been having on Mark Mitchell, formerly from Rasmussen, who has been very, very based recently, and their numbers are not looking good for the midterms at all. And we all said this. We were all warning people at the time. We were even talking about this on this show during Operation Midnight Hammer. Not even during this latest round with the Iran war stuff. Okay, we were on this shit from day one over a year ago, saying this is not what we elected Donald Trump for. This is not what the base wants. This is bad. They are going to drag us into another war. And what happened? Not even 1 year later, we got dragged into it. And here we are, 6+ months on with no end in sight. They got nobody to blame but themselves. Unbelievable. So, yeah, it's too late. It's too late. They could get like a peace deal like fucking tomorrow now, and it wouldn't fix things. It's over. Squandered the second Trump presidency for Israel. Amazing. Bolero 393 for $5 again. He says, "Rod Dreher would be bad enough for his call to submit to the most evil people, but he also had a role in a role in a friend's docs and firing despicable." Yeah, absolutely. Despicable man. Bobby Bob for $10. "Thanks for the stream. Really hoping OGC works out." Yes, it is going to work out, and it is working out. So thank you, Bobby.
Already work. The things we have going on are just, we ain't going to tell you.
Yeah. Well,
lots happening.
Yeah.
A lot is going on.
Absolutely. Everyone get involved in your local OGC chapter. We even have one in New York City.
For sure.
In the heart of the beast. Beat Budapest again for $10. "Rod's just a bad guy and malignant narcissist. He'll change his positions as long as he gets to be the last man standing and self-proclaimed king of the Christians. Textbook narcissist, stay away." Yeah, absolutely. No. Sighthound for $5.01 super chat. I know where this guy's coming from, what community this guy's coming from, sending a denomination like that. Hilarious. "Sup OGC, found this channel through Hawk's collabs with Ryan Stone and Jack Napier." Yep, I knew it. Still like rewatching the podcast with Chesty and Couch. Yeah. Ryan Stone and Chesty are good guys. If people are looking to get into the actual real guys in the manosphere, not the clowns like Sneeko and Andrew Tate, all those other fucking losers. The white guys, actually, the intelligent people of the space. I cannot recommend my friend Ryan Stone enough. Guy's books are fantastic in this regard. Really, really good dude. Aramaic Discourse for $5. "Rod Dreher and Jeremy Boring, mentally lacking, spiritually weak, moral cowards, fundamentally weak and conniving men," in quotes. Yeah, absolutely.
Faggot.
Afix for $20. "Algo pushed this interview hard. Haven't watched. Looked lame. Gotta get Furious on the show sometime. He's great. Yeah, I think he's nailed every assertion since last Monday's show. with Iran's plan implementation. Keep kicking ass, gents. Yeah, Furious is putting out some good stuff over there for the Lotus Eaters. You've had him on your show a couple times, right, Pete?
Oh yeah, we've met more than a couple times. He's a good guy. I enjoy his breakdowns of geopolitics, especially that area of the world. They're just perfect.
Yeah, he's very good. Very well spoken man as well. Pete Budapest again for $5. Remember the South Park episode about narcissistic liberals getting high on their own farts? That's Rod Dreher, a conservative version. Yeah, very true indeed. All these establishment conservative types are all the same. Let's see. Jose Alva for $2. What Dreher would think of Saint Chrysostom?
Chrysostom.
Yeah.
John Chrysostom. A lot of lectures on a certain tribe and their predilections.
Anna.
Rod Dreher might sympathize or empathize and say, "Oh, we just, St. John Chrysostom. He needs to be deprogrammed."
He needs to be taken on a trip to Israel. With the American Southwest for $10. Our good friend, Mr. Thomas Wayne Riley, who you guys should be listening to, his excellent breakdowns of history. Definitely, we've been doing the Texas Revolution for some time on American Spirits, and in addition to that, he probably has the most pleasant accent in the entire scene. I must say. So everyone should be listening to American Spirits. For $10, he says, "Thank y'all for another great stream. Tonight's show wore me out as well. Listen to American Spirits, not because I'm on it, but because Bagby's on it, and he's a real American." Damn right, Bagby is a real American. Hell yeah.
Real Americans.
Yeah, you, sir, are also a real American, Mr. American Southwest. And then finally, we got Wingman for $2. He says, "Beers once a quarter, enough to build brotherhood." Hey, we're doing more, man. We're doing more than that, let me tell you. So, gotta start somewhere. All right. Let's go around the horn here and see what everybody's got cooking. So, Pete, you've always got stuff going on. Where can people find more of your stuff?
Speaking of Mr. Bagby, just released another episode in our very long series tonight on the lead up to America's Civil War. And the episode we dropped tonight starts talking about the abolitionists.
Oh, great, old John Brown. Yeah, I'm sure Bagby has quite a bit to say on that one for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a two-part. We've already done part 2 on that one, and there might be a part 3 on this one because deep dives into this one.
All right. Okay, very good. And then Bo, where can people find more of your stuff? Where would you like to direct people?
I just want people to reach out to the Old Glory Club and get activated. Start building brotherhood in your area. That's the most important thing you can do. You're not alone. Find your friends, and it's the best thing you can put toward your times towards for sure. So I just want to promote that and say, if you're in an area, reach out to your local chapter, and it'll be the best thing you do. So that's all I'm promoting this evening.
Well, thank you. And yes, everyone can find their local OGC chapters by going to theoldgloryclub.com. Look at the chapters page. Mr. Charlemagne has done excellent work making that page look spectacular. You too could find an OGC chapter in your area. And if there isn't one, it is incumbent on you to start one. So for myself, I made an appearance on the #1 Men in News, Timeline Earth. That was this week, so you guys can go over and listen to me, Bird, and Paz discuss stories of the day, and enjoy and some good jokes and all fantastic hilarity always ensues when you go on that show. Pete, I just love going on Timeline Earth because you just have no idea what you're going to talk about. Not the slightest idea. It could be literally anything. And it was this time, just a complete grab bag of stories. Bird really does a good job.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on, but Bird was on my show last week, and we had no clue where it was going to go. And it just works always.
Yeah, it does. And like, people sleep on Bird, but Bird is a very, very intelligent guy. Don't let the ridiculous stories about pickle trucks being overturned on highways fool you. He's a very, very intelligent guy.
Yeah, I don't like to compliment him because I don't want him to get puffed up. But literally one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, which is a requirement for being hilarious, mind you. Definitely selects for that. Which also, for any of you guys out there who are looking for some pre-selection as it relates to the dating world, just be hilarious. Watch some like stand-up comedy, learn some timing. It's helps. It goes a long way for pre-selection. Anyway, Volpus Persona flies in at the last minute with the $10 super chat. He sends us nothing, but you know what? We're gonna give him a real American because why not?
Real Americans.
Yeah, exactly. Real American. All right. We will be back here next week for another episode of Pony Express Radio. Check out the OGC Substack. Check out the OGC website. Everyone listen to American Spirits on Monday and Chapter House on Wednesdays. We'll be back here next week. Have a good one, gents.
When I pass on my good genes to my sons, they're going to join the Old Glory Club.